ready to dive deep into the world of Hamlet.
Always up for a good tragedy.
This isn't just about the play, though.
No.
It's about how its themes and characters have echoed through centuries of art and literature, even pop culture.
Ambitious.
You gave us a fascinating mix of sources for this one.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Excerpts from the play itself, for sure.
Naturally.
Character lists, plot summaries, but also deep dives into the play's origins and influences.
Wow.
We're going to uncover how Hamlet is so much more than just a tale of a prince and his revenge.
Right.
It's a story that's been told and retold for centuries.
Okay.
Each time reflecting the anxieties and the truth of its time.
I like that.
So, are you ready to be amazed by how much more there is to Hamlet than you ever imagined?
I'm ready to be amazed.
Perfect. Let's jump in. One of the things that strikes me when looking at Hamlet is that Shakespeare wasn't even the first to play with this idea of a son avenging his father's murder.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like, it's everywhere in literature, even going back to ancient Roman legends. The story of Brutus, for instance.
Yeah.
He pretends to be a fool to get close to the man who murdered his entire family.
Right.
Sound familiar?
Definitely. So, this theme of revenge for a murdered father, it has deep roots, potentially going back to the very origins of Indo-European storytelling.
Wow.
We could look at the saga of Hrolfkraki, for example.
Another story about sons seeking revenge.
There's a twist.
But with a twist.
There's always a twist.
Let's twist here.
This saga features two princes, Hror and Helgi.
Okay.
They use disguises to avenge their father.
Like Hamlet.
But their approach is very different.
How so?
They're much more direct, driven by a warrior spirit rather than Hamlet's, intellectual and philosophical wrestling.
So it's not just about the revenge, it's about how they go about it.
Exactly. That's what makes Shakespeare's take so unique.
Right.
He takes this familiar trope and really dives into the psychology of it.
The turmoil.
The moral and emotional turmoil that come with seeking vengeance.
It's amazing how these ancient stories share a common thread, but offer such different perspectives on justice and retribution.
And that's just the beginning.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. Shakespeare was a master of adaptation.
Right.
He draws inspiration from everywhere, but he always adds his own unique spin on things. And that leads us to another fascinating piece of this puzzle.
Hit me with it.
The story of Amleth. Amleth. We're journeying from ancient sagas to 13th century Denmark now.
Okay, I'm with you.
We've got this chronicle called Gesta Danorum.
And
in it, there's this prince named Amleth.
Hold on.
Is it?
It's like Shakespeare just shuffled a few letters around.
It's more than that. The parallels between Amleth's story and Hamlet's are incredible.
Like what?
Feigned madness.
Okay.
A suspicious mother.
Okay.
Even a hidden spy who meets a rather unfortunate end.
All things that happen in Hamlet.
All elements that resonate with Shakespeare's play.
So you're telling me Shakespeare might have stumbled upon this chronicle and thought, there's a story here waiting to be told.
It's entirely possible. And here's the most intriguing part.
Go on.
Gesta Danorum. It wasn't some obscure text.
Okay.
It was written in Latin, making it widely accessible during Shakespeare's time.
So he could have read it.
It's highly likely that Shakespeare was familiar with this story, which suggests a pretty direct link between Amleth and Hamlet.
That's incredible, like tracing the lineage of an idea.
It is fascinating how ideas evolve and transform across time and cultures.
But it gets even more interesting when we consider something called...
What's that?
The Hamlet.
Ah, yes. The mysterious Hamlet. A potential play that may have existed before Shakespeare's masterpiece.
You're saying there might have been a prequel?
A precursor, perhaps influencing the Hamlet we know.
That's wild. So what do we know about it?
Unfortunately, not much. No known copies have been found.
So it's like a literary ghost story.
In a way, yes. It's a mystery that has scholars scratching their heads.
So we don't know if it truly existed or what it was like?
We're left with more questions than answers.
Did it influence Shakespeare? How much?
We can only speculate, but it's a fascinating thought experiment, isn't it?
Absolutely. Imagine if Shakespeare penned this Hamlet and then years later revisited and refined it into the iconic play we know today.
Some scholars actually propose that very idea.
Really?
That Shakespeare might have essentially rewritten his own work, layering in more complexity and depth.
It speaks to his dedication to constantly pushing the boundaries of storytelling.
Absolutely. Shakespeare saw storytelling as a fluid and evolving process.
Not just borrowing a plot.
Exactly. Taking an existing idea and breathing new life into it.
It makes you appreciate how every generation reinterprets these classic stories.
Finding new meanings and making them resonate with their own time.
It's like this conversation we're having right now, right?
How so?
We're taking this centuries-old play and uncovering new layers of meaning by looking at it through the lens of history and sources beyond the text itself.
And we're not even done yet. We've got so much more to unpack.
I'm excited to keep going.
You too.
But as fascinating as Hamlet's origins are,
Yes.
what truly sets this play apart is Shakespeare's incredible command of language.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
With Shakespeare, words are never just words.
There's always something more beneath the surface.
They're instruments, carefully chosen to reveal character, to build tension, and to explore the deepest parts of what it means to be human.
It's like he gives each character a unique voice.
It's true.
And I don't just mean like their social standing or anything, but
Right.
the rhythm of their speech. You know, the way they structure their sentences.
You're picking up on something very important there.
Which is...
Shakespeare was very deliberate in his use of language.
Okay.
One of the sources you gave us actually shed some light on this.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Baldassare Castiglione's The Courtier.
The Courtier.
It was basically a guidebook for how to navigate courtly life back then.
Like a Renaissance etiquette manual.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
An eloquent speech, being witty, using inventive language.
That was important back then.
Oh, it wasn't just about entertainment. It was a tool for social climbing.
Fascinating. So when we listen to a character like Claudius, for example,
Yes,
we should be paying attention to how he's using language to get what he wants.
absolutely. Just look at his speeches. They're full of these flourishes.
They're very elaborate.
Right. All designed to project this image of power, especially given how he came into power.
It's like he's overcompensating, you know?
Interesting take. And then on the other hand, you have Hamlet.
The master of wordplay.
He uses language not to assume power, but to deflect, to hide how he's truly feeling.
Yeah, he's always got that veiled barb, that double meaning.
Exactly.
Like, take that very first line he utters, a little more than kin and less than kind.
Ooh, good one.
So simple, but loaded with all this tension and resentment towards Claudius.
Right. And we can't forget about his love for puns.
Oh, the puns.
Like a defense mechanism, you know? Allows him to provoke, but also maintain this air of madness.
While still showing us how intelligent he really is.
Exactly. We see the turmoil beneath the surface.
Which brings us to another fascinating part of the play.
Let's hear it.
The play within the play.
Ah, the mousetrap.
Such a clever idea.
On one hand, it's a way to expose Claudius.
Right, but it's more than that.
What do you see?
The name itself, the mousetrap. It's like he's trying to catch the truth.
That's a great observation.
He's not just setting a trap for Claudius, though.
Who else?
Everyone at court, he wants to expose all the hypocrisy, the lies.
He's holding up a mirror to their faces.
Exactly. Making them confront their own roles in this whole mess.
And let's not forget, he's doing this to the audience, too.
We're part of the play.
Exactly. We're constantly being asked to question what we see, what we believe.
Can we tell the truth from the lies? Especially when appearances can be so deceiving.
Precisely. And notice how much spying goes on throughout the
Oh,
play.
it's everywhere.
Polonius, his children, Claudius himself.
Everyone's watching everyone else.
It creates this atmosphere of suspicion where you can't trust anyone.
Which makes the play within a play even more powerful.
It's not just a gimmick.
Right.
It reflects the very heart of Hamlet's world, where truth is a slippery thing.
And what's amazing is how relevant that still feels today, even centuries later.
Oh, absolutely. Shakespeare tapped into something timeless.
Speaking of timeless, it's incredible how Hamlet's influence goes way beyond the stage.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, we see it everywhere.
Give me some examples.
Well, we've got John Milton's Paradise Lost, for one.
Ah, yes. Another masterpiece.
Even in that epic poem, we see echoes of Hamlet.
The themes of revenge, justice, the struggle against fate, it's all there.
And then, jumping ahead to the 20th century, we've got James Joyce's Ulysses.
Ulysses, wow, that's quite a leap.
It's a completely different style, obviously,
Obviously.
but you can still sense those echoes of Hamlet, you know? That self-reflection, the questioning.
And then there's David Foster Wallace's Infinite Jest. I mean, talk about a work grappling with existential themes.
Oh, absolutely.
And the language. Wallace clearly drew inspiration from Shakespeare.
It's like no matter where you look, from high literature to pop culture, Hamlet is there.
Lurking in the background.
Prompting us to think, to question, to confront those big, messy questions about what it means to be human.
Exactly. And that's the power of a truly great story.
It stays with you, it challenges you, it keeps revealing new layers of meaning.
It sparks conversations like this one.
Exactly. We could talk about Hamlet forever and still find something new to uncover.
And that's why it's considered a masterpiece.
It's a timeless reflection of the human experience.
A mirror for every age.
It really is a fascinating question.
It is.
What is it about this play that keeps us coming back for more, you know?
I think I have an idea.
What do you think it is?
Well, I think it's Hamlet's universality.
What do you mean by that?
He's not just a prince, right?
Yeah.
He's not just grappling with these very specific circumstances.
Right.
He embodies something much bigger. He embodies the human condition itself.
I like that. What do you mean by the human condition?
Think about the things Hamlet's dealing with. Love, loss, betrayal.
That yearning for justice, right. The pressure to do what's expected of him.
Exactly. And then there's just the whole, questioning the meaning of life thing.
Which we've all done at some point, right.
Of course. These are universal struggles.
They go beyond any one time or place.
And that's why they resonate with us, even centuries later.
It's like he's a mirror and we see ourselves in him.
Right. Whether we're facing some huge moral crisis or just, trying to figure out our own lives.
There's always something in Hamlet's journey that we connect with.
Absolutely. And it's not just the themes.
Right.
It's Shakespeare's language, too.
It's true. The way he writes is just so...
timeless.
Exactly. He finds a way to express these really complex emotions in a way that still feels relevant to us today.
Grief, doubt, that search for meaning.
It's all there in Hamlet.
It's what makes him such an enduring figure.
And what makes this deep dive so captivating, right?
How so?
We're not just unpacking a play, we're unpacking ourselves.
We're all grappling with these questions that have been around for centuries.
Exactly. And I love how these conversations never really have easy answers.
That's the beauty of it, right?
Right.
It keeps us thinking.
Speaking of which, as we wrap up our deep dive into Hamlet, I'm left with one final question.
Hit me with it.
If Hamlet's a mirror reflecting every age,
Okay.
what does it reflect about ours? What's your take on that?
Wow, that's a big one. You really know how to leave our listeners with something to think about.
That's the goal.
I love it.
It's been a pleasure exploring all of this with you.
Likewise. Until next time.
Keep exploring and keep asking those big questions, everyone. You never know what you might discover.